Hello and welcome to another Nature's Prophet guide, scripted by CWYT, and in this video, I'm going to talk about itemization on Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet is a very versatile hero in terms of what items you can buy on him and still be impactful. Now, even though lots of items can work on the hero, that doesn't mean that they will, or that they are good enough to win games with most of the time. Items should generally combo with the hero's spells. In this case, the two spells that make Nature's Prophet as great as he is are Teleportation and Nature's Call. This means that you have global presence, which means that you can teleport anywhere and push towers or help secure kills. This is the reason why Orchid is an amazing item on Nature's Prophet. In the situations where you TP to help secure kills or get solo kills by yourself, you offer a very useful silence, and the item itself also offers great stats, such as damage and attack speed. It does also offer mana regeneration, but that doesn't make such a huge difference on Nature's Prophet. In my opinion, Orchid should be a core item on Nature's Prophet pretty much every single game. So with some generalities out of the way, let's talk about starting items. There are various builds that you can start with. The first one is Null Talisman and Tangos. This build was good before 7.07, but now it gives 3 less damage than it previously did, so it is not worth it quite as much. It offered high right-click damage, and it was good when the enemy was very squishy, even if you traded hits. With any good help at all on your lane from roamers, you could easily pick up some free kills with this build. The second one is 2 Iron Branches, Enchanted Mango, Orb of Venom, and Tangos. With this build, you can build a fast magic wand while also starting with Orb of Venom to improve your harassing potential. Now this might sound like the best build on paper, but I personally don't like it because I haven't found Magic Wand to be a very efficient item on Nature's Prophet. This is because the hero will basically die if the enemy has enough damage to kill you, and Magic Wand never made the difference for me. It promotes a kinda defensive playstyle, as without boots you can be very slow. The third one is Boots of Speed, Tangos, and Fairy Fire. This allows for a quick build of phase boots, and the Fairy Fire can save your life while also granting a small amount of damage until you use it. This is the build that I go for, because the quick phase boots really makes the difference, and it also makes me harder to kill during the earlier minutes of the game. If the enemy uses a lot of spells, you can also go for a Magic Stick. It's not worth upgrading to a Magic Wand because you're going to sell it fairly quickly to carry other items, maybe even a dust sometimes. I will develop the third build from here on out, as I found it to work the best and developed my playstyle around it. After phase boots, I build Drums of Endurance, and this item is great for a few reasons. It provides some health, which is very good on Nature's Prophet as he has a low strength gain. It gives you movement speed and movement speed aura, and this means units around you move faster, so when pushing it helps your wave rush down the enemy tower. This is a great item to have while pushing, fighting, and chasing. The only downside is that it has a limited amount of charges. You might ask yourself, why should I be getting this when I can start building a Hand of Midas or Orchid? Those are also great items to go for, but they usually work when the game is very passive, and sometimes, by the time you finish Orchid, the core targets that you want to kill with it already have built a Force Staff or a Yule's. Drums allows you to keep on fighting and pressure the enemy in more general terms. I've personally found that building drums and fighting will get me more gold and also help my team get more map control and still have the same timing on my Orchid as I would have if I did not build drums. This was actually a very interesting discovery for me, as it taught me that rushing down expensive items is not always worth it on some heroes. By applying pressure and fighting, you're not only killing enemy heroes and controlling more parts of the map, but you're also limiting their farm, either by farming their jungles or through death, which they could lose gold from. After drums, I build Orchid. This is a great item for Nature's Prophet because it provides him with a 55 plus attack damage and plus 30 movement speed, while also being able to silence a target. It is also a very good item because you can make it from cheap components, meaning that if you were to fight and die, you still have item progression if you buy parts before dying. Later on, it can also be upgraded to Bloodthorn, which is an amazing item for right-clickers, increasing the damage that everyone deals on the target, while also gaining a permanent crit chance. So to clarify, the first 3 items are Phase Boots, Drums of Endurance, and Orchid Malevolence. My usual timing for these items is around minute 16 to 17. The next item I want to go for is Shadowblade. This is probably the most important item to have on Nature's Prophet in my opinion. When you get it after you buy your Orchid, the whole game changes. You can pick off supports and heroes that you can kill very easily, you can scout behind the enemy lines, you can escape ganks, you can pressure lanes more easily because it's not so easy for you to get yourself killed, and most importantly, you can use your teleportation while invisible from Shadowblade. invisibility will be cancelled after you TP'd, not before. The item also increases Nature's damage output, as its passive stats are damage and attack speed. It can also be upgraded to Silver Edge, which can disable the passive spells of the targets that you hit to break invisibility. It is a great item versus heroes like Timbersaw, Phantom Assassin, Monkey King, and so on, heroes with great passive spells. But if they have Yules in the case of Timbersaw or BKB in the case of Cores, it's not such a great item, because if you don't chain stun them, they're just going to run away even if you do break their passives. It also costs a lot to build the item, so if you're going to have it too late, I'd rather buy a Scythe of Vise or something else rather than investing in a useless item. Not to mention that Shadowblade is mostly used to escape or initiate on Nature's Prophet, so using it to try and kill certain heroes drastically decreases your survivability. Okay, so the 4 core items for Nature's Prophet are Phase Boots, Drums of Endurance, Orchid, and Shadowblade. The next items we're going to cover are situational and really vary in value from game to game. Very viable items are Assault Cuirass, because it helps with pushing, as all the units around you get armor and attack speed. It helps in team fights for the same reasons. Desolator if you want fast damage on heroes and buildings, usually good if you don't need armor or BKB. Black King Bar if you can take part in team fights and win them consistently, but it's also good if you can split push and want to be invincible, in which case you can just hit BKB and TP out. Scythe of Vise if you want an extra disable on the team. Moonshard if you are 6 slotted. Monkey King Bomb if you have to deal with evasion. Basically, just fix one of the issues that your team is having in that game. There aren't any builds after the core items that I recommend simply because it depends from game to game. But one build I've always found decent, even if it doesn't counter anything or anyone, is BKB and Assault Cuirass. Those 2 items make you very tanky, make you very hard to kill if you split push and get caught, and you can also team fight and offer a lot more to your teammates in general. I don't think you can ever really go wrong with these items. Let's bring up some other items that are pretty common and see why they are good. Firstly, Maelstrom and its upgrade Mjolnir. This is a really good item for pushing, farming, and increasing your damage output in fights. The item is great either in the beginning, or the mid game, or even in the late game when you need to push lanes fast, and you can also use Mjolnir on your Treants, which will trigger static charge to push the lane without the need of your hero ever being there. It is overall a good item on Nature's Prophet, but I don't think that it's that good. This is because you can get items that have way more impact than just boosting your lane pushing power, and many items also give you damage as well, so you're not effectively gaining that much DPS by picking Mjolnir over something else. Necronomicon used to be a very viable item on Nature's Prophet. I don't exactly know why people stopped building it, but my opinion is that the item is only good when you are pushing towers. The creeps are fairly weak, and they also deal pretty low amounts of damage. So again, you have an item that only really boosts your pushing power. It has a high cooldown and doesn't make that much of a difference anyway in most other situations. For this reason, I think that building Desolator or Assault Cuirass is way more reliable, as they are also way more helpful in things like teamfights, but they also boost your damage output on towers as they decrease the building's armor, and Assault Cuirass also gives the units around you plus 25 attack speed. For these reasons, items like Dagon are also worthless, as they only give you a small burst on a single target, and then they become effectively useless. Those and items like them are one-dimensional items that limit the hero's ability to push and fight. Ideally, you want items that increase your efficiency in both of those things. Aghanim Scepter is theoretically an amazing item. The reason why it is bad, however, is because with Nature's Prophet always pushing the lanes, your team won't be able to farm on them, which means that in time, you will actually lose farm at the exchange of some map pressure. You also can't secure the last hits more often than not, which means that they are usually just wasted, and the damage increase per bounce is too small to be worth the upgrade. Last but not least, Hand of Midas. Is it good? When should you build it? It is certainly good, but it doesn't help you win games most of the time. Nature's Prophet is very good at taking fights, so building fast phase boots and drums will give you the edge in those situations. You want to build Hand of Midas when the game is very passive, both teams having greedy cores and defensive supports, making killing anybody almost impossible and not even worth the effort. In those games, I usually pick up a Midas after phase boots, but keep in mind that the decision is entirely based on my team. Can my team, at least the supports, help me bring the fight to the enemy and secure kills? If the enemy has Omni Knight and I have Avenge support, certainly that's not going to be the case, so I'm just going to go ahead and build a Hand of Midas. If you buy Hand of Midas, Drums no longer has a purpose, so I advise on going straight to Orchid after Midas. In summary, the 4 core items of Nature's Prophet are Phase Boots, Drums of Endurance, Orchid, and Shadowblade. After these items, you can build any item from the ones that I've mentioned, or whatever you think might solve a problem or obstacle that your team is running into during the game. Take no build for granted, as adapting is the key to winning in Dota. This guide has been scripted by CWYT. In his closing words, "These are my thoughts on how Nature's Prophet should be itemized. Feel free to experiment for yourself and change my build if it fits your playstyle and you win with it." Thank you for watching. Do drop a comment down below, and we'll see all of you guys in the next one.